Shattering Glass, Chapter 27. The worst part? The expression on Young's face when he looked at me. The bat was still in his hand, and there was blood on his cheek. And in his eyes was realization, knowledge of things nobody that age should have. No, I haven't seen him since. He'll be living with Coop for a while, until he gets his bearings, Coop says. I talk to Coop often, but I won't go see Young when he gets out. That's over. It was over before. Rana Perry. Everyone sat at the tables, faces turned expectantly toward the stage. I stood in the shadows and wispy clouds at the far side of the commons, watching from the sidelines. Deputy Dog stood in front of a small set of bleachers on the stage, the risers covered with glittered cotton batting carrying out the cloud theme. He clutched a fistful of envelopes, each decorated with a bright red wax seal. We'll start with the freshman class. Freshman class favorites are. He paused for a moment of drama and then slid his index finger under the flap of the envelope and broke the seal. The drums rolled and crashed, and Deputy announced the names. Spotlight searched the tables to find the winners. I didn't even know the girl. She had long brown hair and covered her face with her hands as she giggled and blushed. When she removed her hands and stood up, I could see the glint of braces. She was lanky and slightly clumsy, like a spring colt. The boy was Lance Ansley's little brother, tall and gangly with a hint of his brother's former swagger. I scanned the room, but didn't see Lance. Sophomores were announced without my awareness. I watched Simon, sitting easy and smiling, leaning over to comment to Rob as the winners took places on the risers. I looked back to Deputy Dog as he opened the envelope for junior class favorite. I didn't hear the boy's name because my heart pounded in my ears as he called out Rana's. The spotlight swiveled to her table. She stood, smiled, and waved at the applauding audience as she walked in the pools of light to the stage. Now the seniors. Deputy looked down at the top envelope. Most athletic, he read as he broke the seal and pulled out the card. Jeff Cooper and Tina Matthews. The crowd cheered. The spots found Coop. He raised both fists over his head and shouted, "Yo!" He loped to the middle of the floor and waited for Tina to join him. Picked her up, set her on his hulking shoulder, and carried her to the stage. Everyone whistled and cheered and stomped. Bobster and Blair Cruz got most handsome and most beautiful. Since they were seated at the same table, Bobster pulled out her chair, offered his arm, and escorted her into Grand Manor. Deputy scratched at the seal for most likely to succeed, opened it, and read out the names. One of them was mine. The spots had trouble finding me, but finally picked me out of the shadows. I made my way through the tables, trying to figure this one out. If Simon had hacked into the result, he never let me win. Maybe everything would be all right. As luck would have it, I was placed next to Rana near the edge of the risers. "Congratulations," she whispered. "We'll see about that," I said, watching Simon as he applauded, still relaxed, leaning back in his chair, surveying the faces in the crowd. "And the winners for wittiest are..." Deputy pulled out the card. As I continued to watch Simon, he looked a bit nervous now, drumming his fingers on the table, scrutinizing the deputy's face. "Simon Glass." And who knew what the deputy said next? Cheers drowned the name of the female winner. Coop put 2 fingers to his teeth and whistled. It sounded like an air raid signal. Glass slumped back against his chair and made a parody of filling his heart, then jumped up and bowed to the audience. He ran across the floor, snagged Barbara Burns by the hand, and pulled her to the stage. I guess she was the wittiest female. When they got to the bleachers, she gave Glass a swift kick in the butt, so she must have deserved the honor. My attention was on Rob. He clapped a shade out of sync with the rest of the room. "Now, for the big prize, senior class favorite." The deputy popped the seal, pulled out the card, and grinned. "Well, no surprises here. Blair Cruz and Rob Haynes." Reality took a loop, and the room seemed to tilt on its axis. I saw hands meet in applause, but the clapping hands opened to faces of bewilderment and surprise. I felt Rana's hand on my arm, and I looked down to see her staring at me, her face serious. I don't understand, she whispered. I thought Rob took care of this. I took a breath, and it felt cold in my lungs. Yeah, I said, we all thought that.